Hello and welcome to GuyLogicGaming. My name is Temko and this is Fortnite Battle Royale. Well, this video has been a while in the making and so has Fortnite, and it's taken a bit of a twist and a bit of a turn, and it's landed with Battle Royale in the weirdest of possible notations. There's a lot to talk about in terms of Fortnite in general, but in essence the game is split in two components. There is the PvE component, which is the component you buy for $40, $50, $60 in the regular AAA market price that any publisher does, and there is the Battle Royale mode they added, which is a free-to-play component. We're going to be focusing this video completely on the Battle Royale mode. And before we dive into the Battle Royale mode, there are a couple of anecdotes to make about the PvE mode where I feel you might as well not fucking bother. First things first, both the PvE and the PvP mode are still considered early access according to the developers, but both of them will be coming out of early access into full release sometime in 2018, and it will be free to play. I'm not sure how that transition is going to work. I'm not sure what benefits or extras you're gonna get for signing up early if you want to play the PvE mode, but I can tell you for a fact that the PvP mode, the Battle Royale mode, is infinitely superior in terms of gameplay, enjoyable fun, and exciting adrenaline-filled gunplay. That said, it too is still in early access, so let's dive in and talk about Fortnite's Battle Royale mode. Now, Battle Royale is pretty straightforward, and if you haven't been living under a rock, Fortnite and PUBG are pretty much the kings on the corner for each of their respective desires. PUBG takes the crown with the more milsim-like approach, more realistic, more oriented to real-world graphics, more gritty, and, well, in many ways very, very different from Fortnite. So if you're not into crawling around for 40 minutes and then getting sniped from across the map, Fortnite, which is more cartoony, which is more arcadey, which is more about rocket launchers at point-blank range, then that might just actually be something you enjoy. Then again, it has its disadvantages where you might enjoy PUBG. One of the things it does not have, and the disadvantage in, is overall PC performance, because this is where I personally land in Fortnite's favor and the main reason I initially started playing this game at all. Initially, when the Battle Royale hype started up earlier in 2017, I really didn't care. It's not my kind of gameplay. I'm not a shooter fan from the get-go, so it took me a little bit to warm up to the idea. But when I tried PUBG and fell through the ground several times, and I got stuck in trees several times, and then after that had several crashes, I just uninstalled it entirely. Until Fortnite lured me in, and Fortnite didn't crash. It never has. It never frame dropped. I've never encountered a single issue with the game. Now granted, there are some issues with the game. There are always bugs, to be fair, whether or not we like it. But there are no issues such as not being able to land on the ground at all. On top of that, the game runs at a smooth, stable 60 plus FPS at any given time, and even on the most difficult of days, even when their servers are being hammered into the ground, I have never had desyncing issues or other problems regarding gameplay. Now, there have been issues with friends list not working, with people needing to queue up to log in due to the loaded servers, but once you're in a game, it works flawlessly every time, all the time, and that alone is worth checking the game out for. But Battle Royale is about jumping into a map with 99 other players and making sure you're the last one standing, using tooth, nail, and every shotgun shell in the game. So what does the game do so well, and what does it not do so great? First things first is that the Battle Royale mode for Fortnite is split up in 3 separate modes. There's the solo mode, the duo mode, which both sort of explain exactly what they are, and then there is the squads mode, which is a 4-person mode. All of them are identical in rule set and gameplay in terms of when you land in the game and have to get things done. The spawn points are the same, the maps are the same, the areas are the same, and well, the challenge is still the same. The only difference is, instead of being alone, you either have a partner or 3 other people with you. You can pre-queue with your friends if you want to. There's no level restrictions, there is no ranking restrictions or anything of the sort, and you can dive in and have a ton of fun. On occasion, the game also releases a week-long special mode. It's a little bit like the Earth modes League of Legends has, or the Tavern Brawls from Hearthstone. It's a mode with weird rule sets, it's a mode with quirky rules that's around for a couple of days or a couple of weeks, just to spice up the game a little bit for those that are a little bit bored of the current iteration, or maybe they just want to experiment with something. And you can think about like a sniper only mode or a rocket launcher only mode, There's quite a few different ideas and iterations they've done, and they're generally fun to play around with for a little bit of relaxing, enjoyable, gimmicky fun. Pretty good. But you get in the game, you jump out of the sky bus balloon that floats across the map in a random direction, pick your target on the ground, land, and start gathering resources, gathering guns, gathering materials, that you're the last creature standing on the entire map, as obviously the storm circle that forces players into conflict, into combat somewhere on the map closes in like clockwork. This is pretty much the same as most Battle Royale games, whether it's Fortnite, whether it's PUBG, whether it's the Darwin Project. They all pretty much follow this formula. It is in essence the basis of a Battle Royale title. That said, Fortnite does do a couple of things that are pretty cool. First things first, obviously, cosmetics in the game are a big major source of income, so everything goes through the shop. Once you are loaded into the map, you won't find cosmetic items, barring a few rare exceptions such as a bush you can hide behind or the like. Overall, the way your character looks is either random or a outfit you equip beforehand as you dive in. The same goes for your parachute glider, the same goes for the pickaxe you start with so you can gather resources. You can equip new skins for them beforehand, but once in the game, that is it. So you won't be getting pants or shirts or hats like you would in PUBG, for example. What you will be finding on the ground is guns. Guns, and lots of guns overall. The gamut is large and the variety is pretty decent, with various pistols, assault rifles, submachine guns, shotguns, rocket launchers and grenade launchers available. There's a pretty decent range of weapons that all have their uses and benefits. Now, some are better for some situations and others are definitely better for others. Especially in the later stage of the game, I feel that the sniper rifle is particularly overpowered, but it also has its massive drawbacks. So in general, most of the weapons have a good set of varied use cases, and as you progress through the game, you'll see people using different weapons, whether or not they could find any other for their preference, and that is a very good thing indeed. But Fortnite has a secondary mechanic outside of the run, shoot, kill mode, which is crafting. You might be thinking, wait, what? Crafting? It's not crafting in the same sense as you would expect that you're making potions or swords or shields. No, you're crafting structures using 3 materials, and the basic crafting is fairly straightforward and simple. You can make bridges, ramps, walls, roofs, and you can make little shelters for yourself while you're running around on the map. So if you need a moment to hide, if you're getting assaulted from multiple sides and you're in an open field, just make sure you have some wood with you or some bricks with you, and you can plop down a shelter straight around you on the fly through the magical power of magic. And that is pretty damn cool because it allows you to reach places that you would otherwise not be able to reach. Nothing on the map is inaccessible, and that is a pretty cool thing. So if you see a mountain and you're pretty sure you want to hide up that mountain, or if you're pretty sure there's some cool loot up that mountain, all you really have to do is make yourself a nice little staircase all the way up to high heaven. And if you need a tower to hide in, if you need a tower to climb up as the massive overlord to snipe your enemies from 300 meters away, that too you can do. Just build yourself or your various squad members a tower, or make a wall to defend yourself from incoming enemy fire. The options are nearly endless, and the scenarios you use it in are also very varied. This also applies to area destruction. Almost everything except the actual terrain can be destroyed. This goes for trees, this goes for walls, this goes for houses, and you can destroy your pickaxe and get some resources out of it, but you can just launch a rocket at it or just shoot your gun at a wall until it breaks. So even there, the tactical options are pretty varied for the player. If you think someone is running around behind a house and you can't hit them, throw a rocket at a house and make sure that wall disappears. If someone's hiding behind the wall they just built, grab a rifle and shoot down that wall. Make them come out. The abilities you have to move around, to even go across a house if you're chasing someone if you want to, with this crafting mode are pretty damn amazing. And because the way the map forces you in closer and closer to a certain circle as the game progresses, you won't have people just building a tower somewhere and just waiting until the game ends. So it's always a balance between, do I want to make a shelter? Do I want to hide here? Do I want to move forward, find some new loot? And do I want to expend the resources and building materials I've gathered, which obviously by necessity means there's less shelter around me to hide behind, whether it's trees or walls, and do I want to save it for later down the line where I might really need a half dozen walls to survive, or do I want to build a couple of walls right now to give me a little bit of shelter from enemies behind me? This added mechanic makes the game very different indeed. But there's another mechanic in the game that does rub a couple people wrong, and I can't really blame them, and that is the way the gunplay works in most scenarios. Now, Fortnite is an arcadey title in its core. The gunplay feels arcadey. The guns don't really have the heavy realistic or milsim impact. The ammo counts are, in most scenarios, not really realistic. You can carry a lot of guns with you. The gun variety and gun options are also pretty good, and even the bullet trajectories and the like are pretty arcadey. They're consistent, but they're arcadey, so that's something you either have to like, adapt to, or not really care about. But there is another aspect of the gunplay that is fully randomized, and that is a pretty big damper for those that enjoy FPS titles, and that is the bullet spread. Now, in games like CSGO or even PUBG, bullet spread is a direct result of the way the gun recoils. So if you have an AK and the recoil pattern of that weapon is in a specific manner, you can account for the spray and the bullet travel as you shoot. And if you're a good player, if you practice with it, you can overcome the inherent negatives of a gun with a heavy recoil or a gun with a low recoil and the travel distance involved with those bullets. You can compensate. Fortnite, this is randomized. So you might get really lucky and on a long range distance with an assault rifle get 4 out of 4 shots on point on target, or you might shoot out your entire magazine of 30 bullets with an assault rifle and not hit a single one due to the bullet spread. That is not how bullet spread should work in a shooter, in my opinion. And the fact that the randomized bullet spread is in Fortnite is a holdover from its PvE origins, where shooting guns was more of a side job to making traps in the PvE mode. Obviously, at the end of the day, the Battle Royale mode really was an offshoot of the PvE mode. When they saw that games like PUBG were really rising in popularity, and their PvE mode really wasn't. Thankfully, overall, the PvP mode for Fortnite is pretty damn solid outside of that one issue. On top of that, there are a couple of other things in Fortnite that really twist around the gameplay, moving away from just simple run and gun into an environment where it is a tactical decision what you do, and that is pretty damn cool. Now, outside of the map design, which I'll get into in a second, there is the various ways you can buff yourself or heal yourself through the use of items. There's a couple of items in the game, and as of recording this, there are 4 main ways to heal or buff yourself. Healing is done either through bandages or through a health kit, which you have to pick up, and you have a limited amount you can carry with you, and they take up a slot you could use for a weapon. So it's always a decision how much you want to bring with you. The second way you can do so is by inheriting a shield, which buffs your shield. There's small shields, there's big shields, and this limits how far you can heal. You can only heal yourself up to 75% with bandages. So this is always sort of weighing the benefits and risks associated with finding something, carrying it with you, or using it at an opportune moment. The added tactical depth, even though it's fairly minor in some scenarios, like the choice for a medpack or a bandage, is still there, and that creates a very interesting notion of deciding what you want to do. The addition of various heal over time potions and full heal potions that are pretty rare but really powerful further increases the options you have in the game that allow you to do various things. So you could build a tower and buff and heal yourself to full, and maybe you'll take a shot or two and just heal up a little bit, or maybe you'll wait until you're really low and then deal with it that way. Maybe you risk someone shooting you from a distance with a sniper rifle and you might die from that, but because you're only missing a couple of health, you might want to hold on to that potion in case somebody ambushes you. You will to kill them, but you'll be really low on health, so you can't deal with the next opponent, so you might want to use your healing item then. This tactical choice is really cool. Add that to the building decisions and the map traversal decisions you have, add that to the gun variety decisions you have, and the way you want to travel from location to location on the map. It creates a lot of choice, a lot of options that keep each and every match, whether it's 5 minutes long and you die in the first wave of landing, or 30 minutes long where you slowly creep forward to trying to kill your opponents, fresh and original each and every time. A large part of that freshness, or a large part of the freshness the game feels every time you play it, a large part of the enjoyment I personally get from the game is the map design. So here I come to the visuals and map design of the title. Now, I mentioned the game is arcadey or cartoony in many scenarios, and that is very true. It is also probably part of the reason it runs so absolutely smoothly and well across multiple systems and across a wide range of technical capabilities. But beyond that, the map design really pulls it together immensely well. The game doesn't take itself seriously. It knows very well that it's absolutely absurd. So you have things like small towns, like depots, like junkyards and graveyards and ice cream trucks parked on a cliff. You even have a factory literally called Flush Factory that makes toilets on the map. The game doesn't take itself seriously, and that is reflected in the map design. The game doesn't try to be clever about it, but neither does it hide what it is. It's a little bit over the top, it's a little bit absurd, and it knows exactly what it wants to achieve. But the map design goes further than just the naming sense of the developers. The way the map is built, and they're iterating on the map to improve the way players use it, is to ensure players want to land in a wide range of areas and locations for a different type of gameplay experience they want to achieve. If you want to go in, land, have a shooting match the moment you land, have a wild dash for the first guns you see, trying to crawl your way and claw your way out of those pits for the first couple of minutes, you land in an area like shifty shafts that are packed with players, packed with loot, central to the map and easily to reach any other area out of. If you want to be more relaxed about it, if you're more of a calmer player, if you want to take your time doing something, you might land in the junkyard, you might land in the factory, or you might even land in the prison, where there's less sight, there's less enemies around, probably because there's also less loot, and the areas around it are pretty barren, making sure that even if you land there, if you're trying to run away without dealing with the area you're in first, you'll probably get shot in the back. Step by step, the game allows you to fine-tune your experience based on where you prefer to land, what kind of gameplay you want from it, and on top of that, the game also twists about what kind of loot is available. Because the way the game does loot that you can find in the map is also pseudo-random, but it is predetermined based on map area. For example, there are specific places on the map where chests can spawn. These chests contain a variety of loot. Sometimes it's just a couple of shells extra for your shotgun, sometimes it's rare and high-end weapons you can find dozens of. This is random per chest. But the locations these chests can spawn in are predetermined. So if you're playing the game and you're familiar with a certain part of the map, or you're familiar with the entire map, you're really experienced, you can think ahead and say, okay, maybe there's chests here. Do you want to take the risk of landing here? And if there's no chests, maybe not finding any good loot? Or if there's multiple chests, having a really strong loot? Or do I want to land in an area that is more dense, more packed, thus has more competition, but is more guaranteed of higher end weapons and loot that can get me started and rolling down the line? These decisions you make, even coming into the game, are, I feel, what makes Fortnite so damn enjoyable. Outside of, obviously, the shotgunning someone in the face and winning a round against 100 other players. Another thing is that a large part of the enjoyment with Battle Royale games is finding opponents. It is not enjoyable, in my opinion, to run around the map, not noticing anyone, having your weapons, itching for a fight, being careful, and then just killing over and dying because somebody sniped you from 100 meters away, without you having any recourse or ability to defend against that, because you never could see them coming, hidden as they were in a tower or in a tree or somewhere else. Fortnite allows for that by having a smaller, more condensed, and more packed map, where open areas where you can shoot someone from hundreds of meters away are very rare, and you can easily counter for those. Also, because of the way the map density works, players are naturally drawn to specific areas for loot, for items, for objects, and the wide diversity of these areas also attracts player personalities. As I said, a town packed with players that has lots of weapons, lots of loot, lots of options is going to attract people that want to have that front-loaded run, gun, destroy stuff. And towns further out, or areas further out with probably less loot, or areas that are more out of the way, are going to attract players that want to have a calmer, more slow build-up into a grand finale. So this overlap and this interaction also allows for more interaction between different types of players. Because even when you land on a specific spot, you're not just worried about the 2, 3, 4, 5 players around you if you're playing solo, or the 1 or 2 other squads in the area you're landing in as well. If you're playing in squad mode, you're also thinking ahead about other enemies, other opponents, where they might have landed, and how that's going to impact your movement through the map moving forward. And you might not care for the fact that even though 100 players landed and you only interacted with 2 of them in the first 5 minutes and there's only 40 left, that the other 60 don't matter. They matter a lot because those people also had loot, and that loot transferred to their killers. And if those killers got killed, well, somebody somewhere down the line has a lot of high-end weapons, a lot of high-end traps, a lot of high-end materials that they can use to prepare for the late game stages. And maybe you want to deal with that as well. Fortnite Battle Royale is an excellent, enjoyable, action-packed bunch of fun that you can sit down, play for 20 minutes, have a good solid sense of enjoyment. Maybe you died in the first minute and you can re-queue immediately. Maybe you'll last until the top 10 and you'll get some really cool experiences doing it. But you don't have to play it for hours. Even things like League of Legends that still have that build-up and action-packed, adrenaline-filled fun with strategic depth, those matches take 30, 40, 50 minutes to complete. With Fortnite, at the most, they might take 20 to 25 minutes. And most of the time, to be fair, you'll be dead in the first 10. And that is absolutely fine because those 10 minutes are going to be intense, action-packed scrabbles to get loot, to get drops, to get medical items, to get shield potions, or, well, to find your way into the circle before the storm ever closing in swallows you up completely. Fortnite Battle Royale is available through the Epic Launcher. It is not on Steam or GOG, and though that may come in the future, for now the only way to play it is through the launcher. But as I mentioned, Fortnite Battle Royale is free to play, which means that they have an in-game shop for cosmetics, for upgrades, and the thing they're promoting as a way for you to unlock new items and get cool stuff is the Battle Pass system. Now, I'm in two minds about a Battle Pass system. In essence, it is a season pass. You buy the Battle Pass and you get to unlock cooler stuff as you level up through a season, which is about 90 days. If you play the game frequently, you can unlock all of these things using the Battle Pass. But the XP requirement for a $10 Battle Pass is still pretty high. And even me, playing it for the last 60 or so days out of the 90-day season, I've only unlocked about 1/3 of the items. Which means I paid for a pass to get possible cosmetics, which I'll never get in the time period that's still left. And obviously, the developers don't mind telling you that for a few more dollars, you can unlock a few more levels of that Battle Pass as you progress. And this nickel and diming, I am in two minds about. On top of that, the regular buying of cosmetic items you might really like from the store is really expensive. Most skins coming in at $15 to $20. And that is very expensive for a skin in a game where you probably see that skin for about 5 minutes between dying. So currently, I feel that the pricing of the in-game store is way overpriced and way too expensive, and I would not recommend you buy anything in the store. But what I do like is the Battle Pass system if you are a frequent player, though I feel that the experience requirements and gameplay requirements to unlock that are very significant, requiring, as developers have said, around 150 hours of gameplay to unlock all the things. And to be honest, even playing 1 or 2 hours a day, that is not going to be enough, meaning they dedicated several hours each day in the season on the game to unlock everything. And that is pretty shitty because most of us will never unlock the higher end stuff on the Battle Pass we paid hard cash for. All in all, Fortnite Battle Royale is, in my opinion, currently the most enjoyable Battle Royale title. It's fun, it's adrenaline filled, it's stable, doesn't have any issues, you can play with friends, you have in-game voice chat, you have everything you need to jump in, enjoy yourself immensely for 20 minutes, 40 minutes, or 4 hours if you want to sit down for an extended gameplay session and come away having had fun. Whether or not you ran into a shotgun shell or you sniped someone from 100 meters away. Everything the game does is immensely fun, and with the development being lightning fast, especially with Epic Games shutting down Paragon and probably moving those development resources over on Fortnite, we're going to be seeing a lot more very cool stuff in the future for Fortnite. All in all, I would wholeheartedly recommend you check out Fortnite. I would wholeheartedly recommend you sit down and get yourself shot in the head with a shotgun shell or 500, because Fortnite Battle Royale is action-packed enjoyment. And you want to check out Fortnite, you can do so with a link down in the description below. So thank you for watching, and if you like this video, press that like button down below. If you didn't like this video, well, there's a dislike button for exactly that purpose, and leave a comment. Tell us what you disliked about Fortnite and why you might prefer a different Battle Royale game, or maybe you just hate Battle Royale games all in all. Tell us down in the comments below. And if you want to see more content like this on the channel, just press that subscribe button down below and we will deliver. So until then, I wish you a good day, and until next time, right here on GuyLogicGaming.